Boom. We are live. Bring on Facebook. Let it breathe just for a second to get those folks in the room. Your Denver Broncos are 7-2, baby. 7-2 for the first time since the Super Bowl 50 season. Do you feel that tingling in your nether regions? Welcome in, everybody. It is the Mile High Huddle podcast, the gut reaction. Your Denver Broncos have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zack, once again, the Broncos went into the fourth quarter trailing, and they stormed back, got the dub, 18-15, with another walk-off field goal by Will Lutz. Your gut reaction, brother?
Oh man, it wasn't easy, Chad. It wasn't pretty by any means, but I'm gonna try to avoid. I know you will too. A lot of fans jumping off a cliff. A win is a win is a win. I don't care how ugly it is. It's always better than the prettiest loss. There's a lot that they have to work on. They kind of reverted and regressed back to their not so good patterns today, Chad. But they pulled it out in the end. They're 7-2. They're still first place atop the West, prime playoff positioning. So I would be hammering Sean Payton and the coaching a lot more if they lost this game. Fortunately, they did not.
They did not. And once again, that confidence that was instilled in this team that they developed themselves through the 33-point fourth quarter comeback against the Giants, it's paying dividends as time marches on, kind of like we felt that it would. I mean, that is such an awakening type of game, like where now anything's possible. Oh, you're down a touchdown or less than a touchdown. Yeah, or well, touchdown and a 2-point conversion. You're down to the Houston Texans. I mean, that's nothing. And in terms of mindset, it's like, no big deal. Whereas even this time last year, that would have been a pretty significant hurdle, Zach, to overcome, which shows how this team has matured, how this team has coalesced around Sean Payton's program and his philosophies, and of course, Bo Nix.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Broncos of 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, they might have lost this game in that football dead period that we suffered through, Chad. They would have definitely lost this game. And you could talk about CJ Stroud going out and giving the Broncos an advantage. Well, they were without Patrick Surtain, the defensive player of the year. They were without Marvin Mims, and that came back to bite them. And one thing I'm not going to pull back on today as we get through it, Chad, is Darren Rizzi should not have the Broncos special teams coordinator job. He needs to go, but I am ultimately happy they survived it and they pulled out another dub.
That they did, and looks like we're having troubles connecting to the main Facebook account. I'm going to give it one more try here in just a second. I just tried to reconnect it while you were talking there, so I'll give it a shot here in a second. Let's see what y'all how everybody's feeling. Riptide, thanks for being with us in the Super and for being a member, buddy. He says we won, but too many drop balls. Well, and this is arguably, in my opinion, one of Bo Nix's throwing out the fourth quarter and even points in the fourth quarter, frankly. This was one of his worst games as a pro up to this point in terms of just missing targets. Once again, that shot to Evan Ingram should have been a touchdown. It wasn't in the end zone, but like that out and up, they beat him. They beat the coverage, and he just missed it. And there were a lot of just kind of off-target throws today from Bo Nix. But once again, and this was something I'll give credit to I think it was Vic Lombardi that I saw on X, and I retweeted it. Bo Nix has a similar gene as like shutdown corners, Zach, where if they get beat, you got to be able to bury that in your memory and forget about it. You have a bad play, you have to bury that because he missed that throw to Ingram, and you're like, Homer Simpson, dough. And then the very next play, touchdown, Cortland Sutton, you're like, that resilience, baby, that is the makings of a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, well said. That's the difference between Bo Nix and someone like Drew Lock, who I liked a lot. But you have to have selective amnesia when you play the quarterback position. And Bo Nix from day one, even going back to his days in college, he's always had that. It wasn't his best game by far, Chad. But again, it's not a black and white issue. There are multiple fingers in the proverbial cookie jar for why the Broncos offense did not look good. The play calling, the execution, drop passes. How about the screens? We went back to that like the Giants game. Too many screen calls. Sean Payton gets two in his own head, and I don't know what he's thinking going away from the run. Not letting Bo Nix use his legs more. Let Bo be Bo. All of these things they have to work on, but again, they're 7-2.
That they are, baby. And so, hey, victory. Let's celebrate. William Shaw, someone tell Bo he's allowed to scramble anytime.
Yes.
not just
Yes.
the fourth quarter. For you young fans, this is what the Elway years felt like. Hashtag heart attack kids. At times, it definitely felt that way. But you also always kind of felt in control, and that's where we're getting to that point now. Like even the Peyton Manning days, as he started to kind of slow down a little bit, let's just say. With Broncos, it might not have been favorable, but you always felt like you were going to be there in the end and probably come out on top. And that's what this is turning into, Zach, and I love it. But his point about the scrambling, Bo left a lot of yards on the field today. There were several opportunities where he broke the pocket. And to his credit, he's trying to keep his eyes downfield and look for the big play and move the chains. But there were times where it was kind of cutting off his nose to spite his face, because he could have picked up even more yardage probably by just holding on to it and marching down the field.
Yeah, and this has been a continuing issue, I think, for Bo Nix going back since the start of the season. And I don't know if it's because of the injuries that Bo Nix picked up last season or what, but it almost appeared like Sean Payton has coached using his legs out of Bo Nix. And I tweeted that during the game, and then right after, Bo ripped off a couple chunk runs to set the Broncos up in field goal position. And that's what makes Bo Nix different than someone like Drew Brees. And that's what we talk about with letting Bo be Bo. His legs are a huge part of his game. He's a dual threat quarterback. Why limit yourself to only one of those threats at a given time?
It's a phenomenal question. We don't have an answer right this second. I'm trying to find this because Ted's just jumping in. So check this out. Ted, we saw him at the meet and greet, and a very generous superstar member of the community who wished not to be named and wished everybody knows who this person is for the record, but donated money for a jersey, and we did like a historical guessing game while at the meet and greet. And Ted missed it on his first try, but he ended up being the only guy to get the answer right. He won the jersey, and here's his evidence that it arrived safe and sound. So awesome, brother.
Cool.
Ted jumping in on Super Chat saying, Chad, you were right at halftime. Broncos still found a way to win. We are seeing them learn to pull these games out as the preseason or as the season progresses. On to the Raiders Thursday Night Football at hashtag MHH for life. Yeah, it's a really encouraging sign, Zach, because it's not only it's showing the team maturing and coming together. And to quote Sean Payton loves this phrase, that confidence comes from demonstrated ability. We're seeing that come out on the wash. But to me, Zach, the more exciting component is the implications for what it means for the quarterback, because you can't come back if you don't have the quarterback sharing a brain with all that stuff. And to me, the fact that Bo Nix is now just impervious to deficits, impervious to the obstacles, he'll find a way. That's the exciting thing.
And it's like he can look like crap. The Broncos offense can look like crap for 3 quarters, but they just turn it on in the 4th quarter for whatever reason. I don't know if it's Sean Payton throwing out the playbook, throwing out the script, letting Bo be Bo, letting him run more, but they just turn it on. And the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this team, Chad, is maddening. We've talked about it. I've written about it. I even put it in my roundtable prediction that the Broncos might be due for a loss, but they're so inconsistent. We never know which team is going to show up, the good or the bad version. So the bad version showed up today. That would lead me to believe on Thursday night the good version will show up against the Raiders.
Let's hope. And by the way, String Guy, before I grab Colin, String Guy says, I didn't want to jinx them earlier, but I hate the uniforms with the white shirt, orange pants. They usually lose. I hate them too. I don't like the way they look. And yes, they've developed a little bit of bad juju. They're overcoming that juju. This win helps kind of do that. But I actually agree with you on that, Raj. Colin, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. Thank you for the super chat and for being a dear member on YouTube. He says, it's not about how you start, baby. It's how you finish. Mad Fanatic, let's freaking go. Amen to that, dude. So that's some wisdom right there. We've got Chris Hernandez jumping in, top rope, with his symbolic gut reaction super chat that we do not take for granted around here. And every time I see it, I'm just like, it lights me up. I'm so grateful and stoked, and I love the meaning of it. As you can see here, his arithmetic, $126 super chat. I mean, 7 wins times the number of points that the Broncos scored in this one. So generous, buddy. Thank you very much, Chris. We love you, bud. He says, if they ever play like it's the 4th quarter in the previous 3 quarters in a game, they're unstoppable. Hashtag click those little thumbs up. We saw it kind of last week, Zach, but of course the critique was, inferior opponent. I wouldn't necessarily call the Cowboys as a team an inferior opponent, but yes, their defense sucked, and the Broncos exploited it. But yeah, man, we're still, as Zach mentioned, that inconsistency component. What the heck? It's hard to find a reason. It's hard to explain it, Zach. But really, today, this would not have been anywhere close to the close game or needing to come back in the fourth quarter were it not for those two special teams snafus.
Yeah, it's not so much about like the stats and the score and the rankings compared to the Cowboys. We knew they were a crappy defense. We knew the Texans were a really good defense. It's just how the offense, the rhythm, how they come out from the opening whistle. They just didn't have the same intensity. They didn't have the same level of focus. They weren't pushing the ball down the field enough. Sean Payton regressed back to throwing a bunch of screens that went nowhere, getting Tyler Bidet involved and Michael Bandy instead of Pat Bryan and Evan Ingram. But again, though, they can play bad and still find a way to win. That's a sign of a really good football team. So I'll give Sean Payton credit for that in the fourth quarter. But Chris, thank you as always so much. And I want to heed your message to everyone. Click those little thumbs up.
It would have been easy, by the way, for the Broncos to kind of overreact following the Michael Bandy muff and just put Riley Moss back there to just hold on to it. But I really liked that they kept trotting him out there, and you could tell he was a little bit more scared, a little bit more like, just catch it. If I get some yards, great. But he held on to it. Was it redemption? No, but it shows that the coaching staff does not view him as like, oh, that was your chance, you screwed us, buddy, as a throwaway player. Yeah, he'll go back to the practice squad, Zach, but he'll stick around. Chris, love you, buddy. Thank you. And Blex, who's been a member for 3 months. Love it, dude. Appreciate you, pal. If you were to ask me if I always believed, I would say yes. How can you not now, right? Like, the scales have fallen from our eyes if you're a doubting Thomas at this point. Like, hey, man, we can sit and critique how ugly it was at certain points in this game, Zach, offensively. And as I mentioned earlier, Bo Nix, I think it was one of his least impressive performances as a Bronco up to this point, but he still displayed the clutch gene. That third down throw in the fourth quarter that kept the chains moving, that second touchdown to RJ Harvey that basically got him, within the 2-point conversion territory. Anyway, Bo leave, baby.
Yeah, Mblex, I will say the same thing now I said on the podcast last season after that Jets game in the rain when the Broncos won. I think it was 10-9 and Bo Nix had, what is it, negative yards at the half, Chad? Bo Nix had? I said the same thing. I think he had 50 yards passing for the game. I do not care about the box score. I do not care about the stats. The only number I need to see is W or L. I know it's not a number, but 1 or 0. Binary here. If the Broncos won or lost. I don't care how bad he looks. He turns it on in the fourth quarter, and that's all that matters to me. I'm a Bo leaver. Always will be.
We wandered the desert for too long, guys, to worry ourselves with style points, man. If it's a win, it's a win. And right, you need it, baby. The Broncos 7-2. I didn't think to check. Did the Chargers win today?
Yeah, they squeaked by, unfortunately.
All right. So, and then the Chiefs are on right now. So anyway, Papa
Bills.
Bear, brother, great to see you. Thank you for the super chat. He's saying, good afternoon, Broncos country. It feels good to win. Ugly though it was, it feels good, man. Taylor Christensen, also a member for 3 months. This must be, Zach, the 3-month anniversary of when we launched the membership episode, because all of our core guys, they answered the bell right out of the gates, like Mblex, Taylor here. A win is a win, he says. Bo came through again. Bo leave. No doubt about it, brother. Camden jumping in. Also a member and a superstar, saying, what a win. I think I have to go to the hospital to check my blood pressure because the Broncos stress me out too much. Bo Nix needs to stop the overthrows. Hashtag let's go Broncos. Yeah, the overthrows are killing him, man. And then sometimes he's like right on the money. Like the throw to Cortland Sutton, that touchdown. Nice, easy open throw. But to RJ, you could see he goes, oh, he's wide open. Exhale. Whew. All this stuff in his brain, though, of course, happens within like fractions of seconds and synapses firing. But you could see him just kind of go, okay, don't miss this one. Nice and easy stroke. Boom, dropped it right to him. Easy. But yeah, dude, I think it has something to do, Zach, with the fact that this is what I do for a living. But a few years back, somewhere between like Super Bowl 50 and Drew Lock, maybe like somewhere between Super Bowl 50 and Russ, I'll say, I disattached from the result because it had gotten so bad with the wins, Zach, and the losses just piling up. That I was like, gonna go crazy. And so I just kind of detached from it. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna live and die on whether or not my team gets it done. I'm gonna enjoy the fact that my team's in season and we're playing ball. And now that we're a force to be reckoned with again, Zach, I think it still serves me well. I mean, yeah, I'm up in arms a little bit and I'm a little hyped when it's in the clutch like that, but I don't think I need to get my blood pressure checked anymore. But I used to be exactly like that, Cam.
Yeah, totally understandable, Camden, and hopefully you're calming down now that the Broncos won. And your point about the overthrows is legitimate, but it's not just the overthrows. The drops are an issue with Troy Franklin. We've seen that all season. The play calling with Sean Payton, we've talked about it all season. So for anyone who wants to make this a singular issue, either Bo or Sean Payton or the receivers, they're flat out wrong because it's multiple factors in games like this.
And you could see once again, man, they are just striving to manifest the Troy Franklin ascension thing, right? Like
Yeah.
the number of touches that were schemed his way today, 10 targets, Zach, 10 targets. He caught 4 of them for 27 yards. And he also did have that 2-point catch. But anyway, Jack Zebo's in the house from down under.
Thank you, Jack.
Proving Broncos country is not a geographic location, baby. It is a state of being. He says, does Zebo, g'day, football priests. The Broncos defense proved itself again. Cannot deny that Bo is clutch. And how about that? The Aussie booting the pigskin 75 yards. Heck yeah, Jeremy Crawshaw. Love the games that build character, and the Broncos are full of it. Hashtag Broncos. Bo Broncos, sorry. And then MHH for life. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, man, he was a one punting fool today. A lot of punts for Crawshaw, and he had a couple of nice ones.
And there was a lot of apprehension and hand-wringing, Jack, in the preseason about how Crawshaw would turn out. And Chad and I both were like, just be patient, let the process play out. He was a good draft pick, and he's going to be a tool and an asset for this team, and he's become just that. So thank you for the super.
Yeah, kind of interesting when it comes to the AFC picture, Zach, real quick. And again, Jack, Zebo, Jack, I got you mixed up, Zach. The Colts lost today. Rip die. Thanks, buddy. So the Colts, Zach, now fall to 7-2. The Broncos are 7-2. The Colts lost to the Steelers, by the way. And then you have the Patriots, Zach, at 7-2. So those are the 3 best records in the AFC. Interesting. And I didn't watch that game, obviously, because we're watching the Bronco game. But that's good news for the Broncos when your eye is on complete home field advantage. And it feels good to be in a position where that's on the table right now, Zach. That's something we can care about 9 weeks into the season. It's beautiful. William Shaw, also a member for 3 months. Thank you, buddy. Greenlaw and Hufanga looking like the reason we went out and spent the money to get them. Yeah, but man, I'm just waiting for my boy Hufanga to just pick one of these things off, Zach. How many times does it have to? He makes such a great play. Such a great play. It hits him in the hands, and my dog just can't hold on. I'm like, hey, Sean Payton, Zach was totally complimenting Chris Abrams' drain last week about how he's got the best hands on the team. Hey, Chris, go show Hufanga some pointers. Go see what you can do, because he'd have 3 or 4 takeaways this season if he could just hold on to the dadgum thing.
Yeah, the takeaways really haven't been there, and the pressure has been consistent. But I've said all season, and a lot of people have as well, because it's been so obvious. Hufanga has been one of the best free agent signings in the NFL, and I think the best free agent signing the Broncos made. You can make the case for Dobbins as well. But really quickly, Chad, we were talking about where the Broncos are right now, holding the 2 seed. I know it's only November 2nd, but there were times in years past that before Halloween, we were talking about the next draft. What pick the Broncos had because the season was over. So let's all enjoy this despite the offense looking less than ideal today.
Yes. And by the way, Hufanga finished second on the team with 9 tackles. Greenlaw finished third with 8. And Alex Singleton led with 10. So they're both up there making a huge impact. That's what you want to see. Lady D off the top rope.
Whoa,
we saw her at during the halftime stream. Here she is with a very generous super chat. We love you. Tell David what's up. She says, hello, everyone. A win is a win. Allen, Bryant, and Hufanga are outstanding players, or with outstanding plays. Moss and Sternad did good, in my opinion. Bo Nix running the ball was amazing. Super excited we won. Lutz did great. Run the ball. Coaching needs to be more consistent. Go Broncos. Win MHH for life. Yeah, how did the Broncos battle back in this one? They started running the ball. You can't escape it. And I don't just mean that's removing the Bo Nix scrambles. I'm just saying with you got things rolling again with RJ or with JK, and you stayed committed to it is the most important thing. And then the cherry on top, Zach, ends up being the plays Bo made with his legs at the end.
Deanna, thank you so much as always. I find myself, I told you this last week, nodding in agreement with you every single time because it's such common sense, smart insights here. And you have to stick with the ground game. And that also, Chad, to your point, that includes the Bo Nix runs. They should be using more design scrambles for Bo Nix, letting him break outside the pocket and not making him be tentative, if that's the case, to take off with his legs. Thank you again, Deanna, so much as always.
And she's also gifted 20 MHH
Amazing.
YouTube memberships to folks in the chat.
Amazing.
So
Thank
you again, Lady D. And for those in the chat that just got notified that you have been gifted a membership, stick with us after your 30 days. Zach and I and all the guys here will do our best to make it worth your while. Ralph, brother, good to see one of our dear friends, Ralph Bracegirdle on Facebook. 7-2, he says. Last time we were 7-2, we won the Super Bowl. We knew it was going to be a dogfight, and we got the win. Hufanga should catch a ball is my only complaint. I know. But see, even then, we're nitpicking because I'm the same. I'm like, man, whoever it was earlier complimenting him, I think it was William Shaw, for obvious reasons. He deserves the compliments. Like, Talanoa Hufanga has stayed healthy this season, Zach.
Yep.
And when he's healthy, he gives you an all-pro impact. He'll be an all-pro Pro Bowler this year. He's been that good. But you just want to see him be even better with those takeaways because he works so hard, Zach, to put himself in the position to get them. And then it's just like the football gods go, here you go. I'm gonna bless your hard work. And it just, I don't know what it is. It's some guys just, butterfingers.
Well, if defensive backs can catch, they be receivers. Isn't that the old cliche?
Right,
But
right.
with his contributions in run support up near the box, he has been tremendous in that aspect and a big reason why the Broncos are shutting down ground games.
Our friend Josh, Chaos Josh, the Boot Boy 90. Let's go. Priest, this team is different. We got so much fight in us, and we've constantly delivered. We can beat anybody, ugly or not. A win is a win. Thank you, my brother in Broncos and punk rock. And yes, dude, the clutch gene, Zach, is officially there for the Broncos. They save their best for when the chips are down, and that's a mark of a competitive juggernaut. And by juggernaut, I don't mean, they're setting records left and right, 40 points here, holding opponents to 3 points. I just mean that they can beat anybody. And the Broncos are one of those teams now. Like if you're going in to play Detroit, as an example, Buffalo, Kansas City, a healthy Baltimore, I'm not tripping anymore on the Broncos. Can they hang? The Broncos can hang with anybody now.
If I told you when the Broncos drafted Bo Nix that he might frustrate you for 3 quarters and he might have you scratching your head and wondering whether he's the right quarterback, but in the 4th quarter he steps up and wins the game or makes it close and kind of changes your mind, would you sign up for that? Every single fan would. That's what you want in a quarterback. When the time becomes crunch time and things get dire, your quarterback plays the best. He's the leader of the team. And as you say, Chad, it raises all the boats when you have that rising tide.
That's right. David, been a member for 2 months. Thank you, brother. 2 great defenses, but the Broncos get the win. Yeah, man. I knew, Zach, that Texans defense, we knew they were good. Like when we were long before we got to the head-to-head on Thursday, like if you've been paying attention at all this season, that's been the one thing that's kept the Texans like afloat at all is their defense is a top 5 unit. But even they today, I thought, played a lot better. Like they raised their game. They needed this win. They were really trying to get to 500. But the Broncos pulled out the clutch gene. The rabbit came out of the hat. Mblex gifting more MHH memberships to folks in the chat. Dude, thank you, brother. Love you, big dog. Appreciate you. We got Cam Cottle jumping in, a dear
Thank you,
member
Cam.
and a superstar, saying a win is a win, but what an ugly win. Our special teams is going to lose games. Well, by rights, guys, if it wasn't for Bo Nix and the offense figuring things out in the 4th quarter, Zach, the special teams was on pace to really cost them because not only did that blocked kick make it so the Broncos were trailing going into the half. They should have been winning by a point. But then the muffed punt, which was a direct result of a special teams coaching miscue from the week prior,
Right.
where for some reason in a blowout, your all-pro returner is still back there returning kicks or punts, and he returned one and got a concussion. These little snafus on special teams, yes, man, they cost you. And the Broncos, frankly, Cam, are just fortunate that it didn't torpedo this game. That, Zach, and the fact that Bo Nix threw a pick.
You could argue it lost them the Colts game with the leverage penalty, them not being coached properly. I have not been impressed with Darren Rizzi since pretty much the moment he was hired. I know you haven't either, Chad. We wondered why they even replaced Ben Kawika in the first place. And I don't say this lightly. I don't say this often, but I want the Broncos to fire Darren Rizzi. I think he's deserved it by now, Chad, with his decisions or lack thereof.
I hear you. Someone asked me on Twitter, how do we fix these special teams? I'm like, beats me. Call Ben Kotwicka. Like,
Beg Mike
what else are you going to say?
Retirement.
Cody Dove, a member for 2 months, brother. Thank you, pal. Saying Hufanga and Allen both get game balls. I agree with that. The Doc JC in the house, a dear member and superstar, saying a big, kick in Lutz did not let that blocked kick from earlier in the game, Zach, get to him. Yeah, and once again, that wasn't his fault. His job is, there's the ball. I stroke and kick, boom. That was a breakdown in the blocking. I don't know exactly what happened there, Zach. Was it Miners? Did Miners miss something? I don't know how Autry was able to get in like that and just so easily just kind of step over a whole line of professional offensive NFL lineman dudes and just go.
Well, I don't want to be this guy, but I put the video on my Twitter account. It looked like the Texans got away with leverage on that blocked field goal attempt, but that's another story for another day, James. We're just happy that, as you said, Lutz made the kick, and he's become, I said this on KK, I think, or a recent podcast, he's become almost automatic Mr. Reliable.
Chris Parr checking in from Australia as well, along with our superstar, longtime OG superstar, Zebo. Chris, like Zebo, we want to invite you, become a member with us here on YouTube. He says to us, Chris, and thank you, buddy. Tough, gritty win. We need to play a lot better on offense in the first half. Hufanga played an amazing game. Yes, he did. Once again, I'll tell you, he finished with 9 tackles, 5 of which were solo, and 2 interceptions he should have had today? Like, I start losing track. It's been that many for my dog this year, but what an amazing guy. Him and Greenlaw today. I kind of prickled when I think it was Moose Johnson goes, "Oh, we haven't called Dre Greenlaw's number that much today." And it was the middle of the 4th quarter. I'm like, dude, he's been balling. What are you talking about?
I think he technically finished with a sack for no yards, Greenlaw did, but he was flying around and he's made a world of difference at inside linebacker. And Hufanga, just the fact, Chad, I know it's maddening he's not coming up with the turnovers, but the fact that he's around the ball and getting his hands on the ball that much, the upgrade over PJ Locke has been just outstanding. So great signings, both of them. I'm happy they came over from San Fran.
And the Broncos should have had 5 sacks today. They ended up with 4. They should have had 5 because Bonito did just, boom, I'm there. I got you. And he just like didn't wrap him up. Like he just kind of bounced off him a little bit. And he was able to, Mills was able to kind of just wiggle out and make the throw. I think it was blocked or batted down. So it still turned out well for the Broncos. But that's 3 games in a row now. Unfortunately, our boy Zach's been shut out in the sacks department. And yet he continues to impact the game with pressures big time. Jamal Killings, OG superstar and a dear member, jumping in. The Broncos need to run the ball more. Let Bo be a dual threat quarterback. Denver Broncos for life. You'd like to see it a little bit more, Zach. Why are we waiting until the chips are down in the 4th quarter to do what we know works? Why?
I don't know. It's when their backs are against the wall and they can't follow a script and they have to just play backyard football. They don't think, Chad. They don't press. They just go out there and they play. And we saw some of that in the last year of Russell Wilson with Sean Payton. So I don't want to say that Sean Payton has coached the running out of Bo Nix because that would be a declaration I can't make. It might be short-sighted to make, but it seems like there's a lot more apprehension and hesitation on Bo's part to leave the pocket. He did it more last season. Then he picked up those injuries. maybe there's a correlation there.
Thank you again, Jamal. Lady D jumping in from the top rope again because she's Mount Rushmore, and she says, hit the like button, subscribe, and save. Thank you, my friend. 7-2 winners. Happy day. Bottom line, Bo Nix is for real. So happy he's our quarterback. Sutton stressed me out. He needs to catch the ball. Cooper's sack was amazing. I love our team, MHH for life. Yeah, Sutton, sometimes you're going, what's going on, dude? But he still found the end zone today and officially tied Steve Watson, for what it's worth, Zach, for the 10th most touchdowns in Broncos history.
This is why, thank you so much, first and foremost, Deanna, but this is why Cortland Sutton will always be, he's a wide receiver one, especially with the Broncos, but more of the lower end wide receiver one, not the Jamar Chase level, because he follows up, as you said, both of you said, a brutal drop with one of the best catches you'll make, and that's just who Cortland Sutton is. But the declaration, I think, that was written about this game that we can come out of here with, as you said, Deanna, Bo Nix is the truth, especially in the fourth quarter.
And I kind of feel bad for Evan Ingram in this one. He should have had a touchdown, if Bo Nix puts it on him right. Oh, here, the ladies of MHH, once again, they're dear friends, and they're dear friends of ours. The Duchess, Michaela Parker, checking in. Legendary, mythical Super Chat superstar and part of the family, says, it's nice to get a win, but how long can we keep going like this? Pound the ball. I know, it's one of those things where you go, okay, what can you point to as a model for success moving forward? Like, what can you build the foundation around from what you saw today? Defensively, hey, that's still a thing. That's the one thing you can pretty much count on week in and week out. Offensively, there are going to be those quality opponents, Zach, that won't let you back in the game in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it's great that we've been able to come back. The Eagles are like maybe the one exception to a quality opponent that you wouldn't expect to allow the Broncos to come back the way they did. But eventually, if you live by the sword long enough, you're going to die by the sword.
I was going to use another analogy, but that's a better one. If you touch the hot stove enough, you're going to get burned, and you're going to have to realize that it's going to burn you enough to where it's going to really hurt your hand and prohibit you from doing things. And that's what the Broncos offense is. They cannot keep being so inconsistent. They cannot keep being so Jekyll and Hyde. They have to find their identity. That's step one. We thought they found it. Step two is just living by that identity and sticking to that identity. And as you say there, running the ball is their identity. And Sean Payton hasn't gotten the memo consistently, but thank you, Michaela.
Michaela also says, hey, listen, and with another generous super chat, we love you, my dear. She says, Bo is the most frustrating player on this team. And Sean Payton's play calling was lackluster. Yeah, until the end, all of a sudden he looks like the genius he's supposed to be. But I understand that because, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Zach, it was kind of, I'm like, man, this might be the ugliest Bo game since week 2 of his rookie year, maybe since the Baltimore game, where he's throwing picks, he's off target, he's missing wide opens, he's, getting stupid penalties like the I keep wanting to say rough in the passer, intentional grounding, stuff like that. It is frustrating for people when you see him, like the graphics Zach they put up at the very beginning of the game, that his 6 touchdowns and 6 passing touchdowns and 2 scores in the last 5 quarters of play is the most since Charlie Johnson, way back in the day, pre-Super Bowl era. And you're going, what? Then why are we barely eking it out in this one? So I get why. I understand what she's saying about how Bo Nix can be frustrating.
Yeah, and he's the quarterback of the team. As Bo goes, so do the Broncos. And to me, Michaela, and thank you again, you're not wrong, but it's the outside circumstances affecting Bo Nix that makes me the most frustrated. It's the play calling, as you say, they're lackluster. It's maddening. It's mind-boggling the amount of screens and throwing to people like Michael Bandy instead of Pat Bryant, but it's also the execution because Sean Payton's not out there, missing blocks or dropping passes. All of those factors coalesce. It looked good against the Cowboys. Those issues were mitigated, but when they come out like today, it doesn't look good, and they can't. To the previous point, I think it was Deanna, they can't keep living that way. Or maybe it was you, Michaela. They cannot keep going on that way.
It's not exactly in the spirit of, well, the other side gets paid too, but let's keep in mind too, Duchess, that this was one of the best defenses in the NFL. They're going to make any quarterback – they're going to hold any quarterback to kind of below their standard level of play. And if they can just eke out a win, It's the mark of a quality quarterback, I would argue. But I hear you on every point, my dear. Thank you so much. Omar jumping
Ooh,
in. What's up, brother? How are
thank
you?
you, Omar.
He's got a very generous super chat there from the top rope. And then he has another one here. We don't have Scott with us today, so bear with us, guys, on the timing of when we get these supers. We're doing our best. Then he says here from, of course, Nigeria.
Thank you, Omar.
Bro, thank you. Second super chat saying those uniforms is so ugly. It's definitely bad juju. Just on style. Go Broncos, MHH for life. I agree with that. I actually agree with that, Zach, 100%. I mean, if you're going on the road, go straight white or white and blue. I don't like the white and orange. And I do feel like there is some juju attached to it. Like you think of the Ravens game last year, you think of the Bills game in the playoffs. This one was ugly until the fourth quarter. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest jersey guy in the world. I just care if the Broncos get victories. But I'll say this again: there's no reason why the throwbacks, Chad, can't be their default uniforms. If we had that, none of this would be an issue or a conversation.
True. All right, let me try and get back to a semblance of order in the sense of everybody's super chats. Whoa. Okay, hold on. I'm scrolling a long ways to get here. Okay, I jumped. Richard. Oh, we don't here. Where's my thing? I gotta find it here. What did we decide to do? Yeah, we're gonna do the member. Thank you. Welcome
Thank you,
aboard,
Richard.
big dog. We're stoked to have you. Where was I? The Boogmeister. What's up, buddy? Saying goodness, big dogs. I need a green break after that. Yeah,
Enjoy.
Colin says this game showed how integral Mims is to the team. Punt Bandy into the sun. That's a little harsh, but I feel you. Yeah, you realize, man, even when he's not busting off big old like Pro Bowl style returns, Zach, his ease and confidence and just competence as a returner is so valuable.
It happens, man. I'm not even blaming Michael Bandy. I'm blaming Darren Rizzi for putting Bandy out there in the first place. It's comes back to the coaching for me with that. But thank you, Colin.
Fox family, what's up, big dog? A dear member and superstar saying an ugly win, but glad to have an extra dub when we face KC. I'm glad Bo shows up in the fourth. Not a bad time. We just need more consistency, and that's true. It could be worse, right? It could be a stink fest for 4 quarters and you lose. So Bo Nix, though, when the chips are down, him and Sean Payton, they go, all right, let's throw this BS out the window and just get to doing what we know works. Okay, if we know what works and we can just go to it whenever we want, ostensibly, why are we waiting until the gun's pointed at our faces? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, Zach. And we can sit and scratch our heads until the cows come home, but we haven't seen that change yet.
No, and it's so bittersweet to reckon with because you're happy on one hand the Broncos got a win, but you're not happy with how they got that win, and you know that they're going to be facing quality opponents in the weeks to come. Maybe not Thursday against the Raiders, but they have games against Kansas City, the Commanders. This back half of their schedule is not going to be easy, and they need the C word. There is the biggest one, and it's been the biggest word since week 1: consistency. You've got to shape that up.
Jordan Mall, what's up, brother? Great superstar. Dear member saying Houston has a top 5 defense. We won. And that's how we make it to playoff football, by beating good defenses. Go Broncos. Good point, dude. And I think that's something we all need to keep in mind. Zach and I talked about it briefly right before we hit go live. It's like there's that slight dissatisfying spice that's making the flavor of this win. You're kind of going, the first bite, you're like, that's good. But you swallow it down, you're like, there's kind of an aftertaste there I don't really love, but I'm full. I'm going to go ahead and get a good night's sleep. That's where we're at.
And you also make the playoffs, Jordan, by stacking wins where you can. And that starts on Thursday. And I agree with the comment in the chat that they can't get lazy now on Thursday Night Football. They can't play down to the Raiders or look past the Raiders, take this night off. They have to go in there with something to prove, similar to that Cowboys game, Chad.
Yeah, no doubt. George Fox on Facebook. I'm glad Bo remembered that he can run. What a difference it makes. Broncos for life, MHH for life. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Thank you, buddy. We've got Zeus McPeak in the house.
Thank you, Stu.
The very first face that was etched on the MHH Mount Rushmore. OG superstar. Love you, buddy. says, love the win. I think the Broncos, do you think the Broncos are going to do something before the trade deadline? Go Broncos. Interesting question. Did you see anything, Zach, from this game that points to perhaps that could, predict whether or not they make a move? Tuesday, 2 p.m. Mountain Time is the deadline.
Man, it's so tough. You can make an argument for and against. The for meaning I'm not totally sold on Troy Franklin. I agree with you, Chad. I think they're trying to force this breakout, and I don't know that Troy Franklin is ready to really handle it yet. I don't think he's ready to be a starting receiver in the NFL. So that would lead me to believe that Bo Nix needs more help, someone like Jalen Waddle or Rashid Shaheed or whoever. But then again, the argument against it is even if they bring those players in, what are the odds they're going to throw him the ball? What are the odds they're going to get him involved? What are the odds they're going to even be a return on investment from the capital and the contract they're giving up? So I don't know, Stu. I think the Broncos will be checking in before Tuesday, but whether they pull a trade-off, I still think it's more unlikely than likely.
I doubt they do. The one exception is the desperation of the dealing team. If the dealing team's willing to take a freaking cup of coffee for some of these guys, like Shaheed as an example in New Orleans, because Mickey Loomis is one of Sean Payton's best friends under the sun, then it's like, all right, we'll swap a late round pick, or, here's a 7th round or something like that. It's like, well, take him and see if he can make a difference. But I just don't see, I don't predict a trade at this stage. Shannon Mills, a dear member, a superstar.
Thank you, Shannon.
It was not pretty, but they found a way to win. The team mindset is really good. They believe they will win every week. That's what has changed. I think you're right about that. That is one of the components of change here, and it's born by Sean Payton's favorite little saying: confidence is comes from demonstrated ability. Naj, legend, mythical.
Thank you, Naj.
Brother. And Naj, we need you as a member, bro. We need you in the clubhouse, dog. You're already in our the holy of holies, so to speak. Have you ever seen Year One with Jack Black?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, then the joke won't fly. But Naj, brother, great to have you, big dog. Hope the fam's doing great. Says, hey brothers, another dub. We'll take it. I just hope Peyton sticks to the run. Let's keep this thing rolling. Go Broncos. I don't know what you got.
He's celebrating the win. That's why I trailed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Naj.
Exactly. We know how hard this man goes. He's a living shot of life. I mean, you need a feeling down and out, you feeling a little blue, feeling a little unmotivated, just pick up the phone, call Naj Altaf, and you'll be running through walls in no time flat. Flying Anger Pig, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. Still rocking the meet and greet profile pic. I love it. It was a pleasure to meet you and your boys. He says, Bidet and Singleton need to sit. Sean Payton, give up play calling. The special teams needs to improve. Bo needs to calm down and be more accurate. All this, yet we still win. I would appreciate games without a heart attack. Yeah, like, again, I don't want to be too hard on Bo, because not only is I hear everything you're saying. You're 100%. I don't want to be too hard on him, though. I guess it's more of I want to try Zach and give him a benefit of the doubt, because not only is this a legit defense that he was playing into the teeth of today, but that edge duo is insane. Like, so cut the dude maybe a little bit of slack is what I'm saying. But nevertheless, Singleton, Zach, you've said it a few times. I feel like he's gotten better the last like 4 games. I haven't been as upset over Singleton lapses, but what about today for you?
It's because I'll give the Texans credit. They identified Singleton as the weakness in coverage, and they exploited him. I mean, he's not 1 step behind, Chad. He's like 10 steps behind in coverage. I don't want to trash him too much. I know he's a good guy, good locker room guy, good run stopper, but he needs to not be a starter at this stage of his career. And Bidet, I agree, needs to not be on the field. I miss Jaleel McLaughlin. I wish Sean Payton would let him out of the doghouse, so to speak, but I will agree with the premise here about Bo to this extent. He misses too many wide open layups. He makes a lot of amazing throws. He's not helped by the play calling. He's not helped by the drops. But there are instances where Bo just misses flat out. And I don't know if it's jitters or nerves or just misses with accuracy, but he needs to make those 100% of the time. That's my only nit to pick.
C. Dickens in the house. What's up, buddy? writing epic literary masterpieces and throwing down super chats on MHH. Thank you, my friend. Become a member. We need you. Why is Sutton more inconsistent than Bo? Pat Bryant looked the best today. Yeah, Bryant made some big boy catches. Caught 2 of his 3 targets, Zach, for 20 yards. And that late catch, man, without it, you're probably headed to overtime. Maybe you still win, but you don't win the way they did.
And then why are we still throwing passes to the likes of Trent Sherfield and Michael Bandy? Why not give Pat Bryant the ball coming off his first career touchdown? That to me, and not to make too much of it because the Broncos won, but that's a coaching issue. Just play your best players and get them involved.
Well, in Ingram, my dog got targeted 3 times, 0 catches because Bo was missing. Both times he was just 2 of the 3 he was just well off target, and one of them was a touchdown. It would have been an explosive play touchdown too. James Moss, a longtime superstar. What's up, buddy?
James.
We need you as a member. Says these wins are building character. That they are. They're tough, grinded out wins, but that is what it takes in the playoffs. The blowouts are fun, but I like knowing what my team is made of when the chips are down. Excellent point. And by the way, Zeus, he just became a member.
Thank you,
Yes,
Stu.
brother. Yes, brother. The OG, I don't know if we'd even be here if it wasn't for Zeus. Yeah, buddy. Thank you very much, my brother. Montoya, SLC, great to have you.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Some of our fans are ridiculous. They act like we weren't playing arguably the best defense in the NFL. People don't have the patience to develop a franchise. I mean, I forgive it because, Zach, I hear you, Montoya, but I forgive it because you've got these epic highs of like, man, this feels like Peyton Manning 2013. And then these like really low lows where you can't freaking get a first down like Tebow, 2011 type stuff, and everywhere in between. And it's kind of manic up and down. People don't know which way is up. So I do understand it. But I think people are coming around to it, Montoya, where they're like, yeah, okay, we can now kind of get into a posture where it might be ugly for 2 or 3 quarters, but we're going to trust, Zach, that when the chips are down, baby, our boys are going to answer the bell.
Montoya, thank you for the super. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for the fan base, but I predicted a 1917 Broncos win. I said this could be a loss. I said it was going to be an ugly defensive game. I was not expecting Bo Nix to go out there and light it up for 5 touchdowns and 400 yards. It's not about that for me. It's just about how the game looks in between the 60 minutes, not the end result. It's the rhythm of the offense, the consistency, not going 3 and out so often, not throwing so many screens, the personnel they run. All of those are my critiques, not necessarily about stats versus the Texans defense.
Why is Bo so jittery? The Duchess wants to know. I missed this one earlier. I would have gotten it while we were on the topic of the Duchess's points here, but I don't know. I think a big part of it was their preparation this week. They realized how legit the front 7 is for the Texans, and really that whole defense is legit. But specifically the edges, I think he was just a little bit anxious because that might have been, Zach. Has he faced a better edge duo this year than this game? Honestly, like think back to some of these opponents. I don't think so, really. So I think he was just a little kind of wound up because of that. That would be my explanation, but I don't know.
Yeah, we have to give credit to the Texans defense. They played phenomenal today. D'Amico Ryans knows what he's doing with that side of the ball, and especially after they lost C.J. Stroud. That would have deflated a lot of teams. A lot of teams would have lost in a blowout today, even at home, and they didn't. So I'll give the Texans a lot of credit. But we also have to keep in mind the Broncos are down to their third string guard now, who, by the way, left guard in Palcho, who was playing with an illness. Not to excuse him, but that's still an offensive line that's a little musical chairsy. So that's maybe could explain the jitteriness from Bo as well.
But he was only sacked once today, so that's good. And Duchess, of course, has been a member since we opened it up because she supports the cause. She's family, and she's saying, I hope our offense gets it together. There's time left yet. It's really inexplicable why it's as bad as it is at times. But real quick, before we continue on the super chats, I'm not going to be able to flash them all on the screen, but I want to read some of the stars on Facebook. George Fox and Ralph, I've gotten those guys. Lawrence Rivera says, Bo Nix with the audibles was on fire. He did miss a few with not picking up the hot route, but that can get cleaned up with more play time. Yeah, specifically late in that game, that was really weird. That last punt, the Broncos had. You're going, really? What's going on, Bo? DeAngelis, this team is building and learning together, battle-tested group with a lot of deep playoff run potential. I agree. And then Tucson Phil, our dear friend, saying, afternoon, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Scott's not with us today, but he says, sorry I'm late. Just got off the oxygen. Proud of the D and especially Allen. Also credit to Crawshaw. A great game for him. Yes, it was. Amen to that. And I hope you're doing okay, big dog. It's great to hear from you. Zach, do you feel like Crawshaw's becoming that weapon the Broncos kind of drafted him to be?
Absolutely. That's what we said. It's what I said earlier in the podcast. It's what we said when he was drafted. It's what we said when there was a lot of pearl clutching over the preseason performance of Crawshaw. Just give it time. He's a rookie, and he'll be a bright spot on that side of the ball. And he's probably, except for Marvin Mims' returning ability, Chad, the only bright spot on that side of the ball.
All right, let's do some rapid fires and catch up on our very patient Super Chat superstars and members here. BLD, another close game-winning drive at the end. I'll take it. Amen. And twice on Sunday. Dickens again saying Singleton with the ghost of his ACL injury needs to retire. I mean, he still led the team in tackles, So I don't want to be too hard on my dog, but the Broncos, from a coaching perspective, Zach, they just got to figure out how to stop allowing Singleton to be that easy vulnerability for opponents to pick on over the middle.
Take him off the field in obvious passing situations, or just double whoever he's guarding on first or second down. I don't know. It's tough, Dickens, and I would have preferred the Broncos cut Singleton before the season. They would have saved a chunk of money, but here we are.
Grover, dear member and superstar, saying Hufanga. Can he get multiple game balls? Hashtag a win is a win. MHH for life, Broncos for life. Let's go. Amen to that, Grover. Thank you, buddy. I got that one. I didn't get Shiloh, who says Houston D challenged the Knicks is good versus the Blitz narrative. Yeah, that's for sure. They made him look like a rookie on a lot of those Blitz moments, Zach. It's like, this goes back to what Duchess was saying. Like, why was he looking so jittery?
Yeah, a lot of credit to the Houston defense and DeMeco Ryans, like I said, and he'll have these games. But Sean Payton, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's a better head coach than DeMeco Ryans and Nick Haley, or whatever his name is, the Texans OC. So now going forward, going into Thursday, short week, forget about this game, learn from it, and be better against the Raiders.
Exactly. Thank you, Shiloh. It's great to see you today, big dog. Okay, let me see here. Omar again, brother. Thank you, pal.
Thank you, Omar,
says
man.
Our defense is real. It's saving us. That's for sure. Games like this, but that's why you can rest assured, like even if on the games where the offense, Zach, is just kind of struggling to figure things out, that defense keeps them in it. And I can promise you, this is not the defense from some of those bad years post Super Bowl 50, where amongst themselves, they're going, man, we are carrying all the water for this team. When is our offense going to punch in? They know that Bo Nix and company will answer the bell when it matters most. But he says, I'm looking forward to the showdown with KC. But if we're going to have a chance, Sean Payton, the whole offense needs to sort itself out. And we are going to need a strong, consistent run game. Amen to that, big dog. For what it's worth, the Broncos today, Zach, finished with 100 rush yards, led by J.K. Dobbins, 61 yards on 15 carries. So they did feed Dobbins. Most of that, 11 of those carries, in fact, Zach, were second half carries. And Bo Nix, of course, 3 runs for 36 yards. Harvey did not carry the ball after the first half, although he did have that touchdown reception. So got to display a much more committed ground attack.
12 yards a run, and seems pretty good to me for Bo Nix, huh, Chad? And it won the Broncos the game in the end. So that's, Omar, you're right. It's part of their identity is being a run-first team, but being a run-first team also means getting your quarterback involved and letting him run the ball more. So absolutely, I look for that to hopefully change going forward.
Omar, love you, buddy. Mailman Ossendorf, who we also love and got to hang out with last week, says 7-2, just saying, bring on the Raiders. Best in the AFC West. We are. That's for sure. Broncos, man, they haven't been this productive this late into the season since Peyton Manning, the era anyway. I guess at this point in that season, Zach, It had been right after, well, was it about, anyway, I don't know. Peyton Manning, was it week 7 that he got hurt? I'm trying to remember, but it doesn't matter here. The point is the Broncos, Zach, are 7-2, but the Chargers won today, and as it stands currently, the Chiefs are down 14-10 to the Buffalo Bills. So we're all Bills fans today. That is for sure. Thank you, Austin Dorf.
Yeah, the Broncos just have to worry about taking care of their business, and that continues on Thursday against the Raiders. Just win that game and let the chips fall where they may.
Montoya SLC again saying, jumping in to say, do you think they hold Mims out for Thursday night? I hope not. No. It depends on how severe the concussion really was, Zach. What have you heard on that? Because, basically he didn't practice Friday because he was still symptomatic of the concussion symptoms, so he couldn't clear protocol. There is a chance that, we can't control how quickly his body recovers from a traumatic brain injury, which is what a concussion is. We don't want to rush that. So it's possible, I guess, Zach, that it's too short of a turnaround, but it's outside the Broncos' control. The NFL, that's one of the things they've done in recent years with all the pressure of CTE and all that stuff, Zach, is they've said, okay, independent doctor decides when a player, is concussed and when they can return.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a multi-pronged protocol that players have to go through when they have a concussion. The last protocol is getting clearance from an independent neurologist. I don't know where Mims's recovery stands right now. It's a short week. Like Chad was saying, though, if it was a severe brain injury, he'll probably be out for Thursday night.
White Lightning in the hizzy. Hey, buddy, we need you. Become a member. He says, I'm okay with Bo not running much until the 4th. He needs to continue to develop his accuracy, and teams can easily adjust if he just runs a lot of the game. Yeah, there's some points there, but, man, you can't go broke taking a profit. And there were a lot of opportunities for Bo Nix today to rake it in on the ground. And, again, I understand he's keeping his eyes downfield. He's trying to connect. But there were 2 in particular today where I'm going, why did you not just run it right there, Bo? Both of them were incompletions, and both of them were on 3rd down that got the Broncos off the field.
Yeah, the last couple drives before the game-winning drive, he had an obvious running lane, and it seemed like, again, there was just this this natural apprehension to take it, and I'm happy that he took it on the last drive, though.
Lady D, like the Duchess, like many others today,
So much.
celebrating the membership for 3 months, and she says, become a member of the greatest podcast ever. Love you guys. We love you, too.
Love you, Deanna.
You know this. And here's Joe, member for a month. Can't
Thank
wait
you, Joe.
till Thursday, Raider Hater Week. That's right, baby. That's right. Okay, Zach, we're pretty well caught up on Super Chats. If I missed anybody today, guys, please forgive us because we don't have Mr. Producer here as our fail-safe catch-all just in case. But, Zach, before we're at 58 minutes, so we got to wind her down here shortly. But Seth wanted to know, how many snaps did Dre get today? Not sure yet. I could answer you that question in probably 2 hours. Let me double check and see if the game book has it yet. Hang on. No, not yet. So we'll know tonight sometime. So, maybe we'll tweet it out. Make sure you're following us on X. Okay, Zach, studs or duds, you ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm throwing out the name. You tell me if they were a stud or a dud today. J.K. Dobbins, 15 rushes, 61 yards.
Stud, considering the action that he got.
Bo Nix finished 18 of 37, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
I hate to do it. I'm calling him a dud. Too many missed opportunities and just too lackluster, clunky on offense.
I feel you. The only reason I'm not calling it a dud is they did get the win, but he completed, Zach, sub 50% of his balls.
Yeah.
This is like Tim Tebow kind of stuff.
Coming off the Cowboys game, especially. And
this is why I don't blame people like Michaela for going, what the heck, Bo? What the Sam Hill is going on? Okay, RJ Harvey, 2 rushes, 5 yards, and then, of course, that beautiful touchdown. He ended up with 5 receptions, caught all 5 of his targets, 51 yards.
Broncos might have the best running back in the draft class of anyone. I'm going to say stud here.
Cortland, only 1 catch, went for a tutty on 6 targets, 30 yards.
He beat his man, but there's too many drops. I'm going to go a little tougher on him this week. I'm going to say dud.
I agree. Troy Franklin, 10 targets, only caught 4, 27 yards.
Dud.
Dud. Adam Troutman also, by the way, blew a huge block on a 3rd and short.
Right.
Caught 2 passes for 25 yards, though, today.
Dud.
Dud. Pat Bryant only had 3 targets. He caught 2 of them for 20 yards, one of them in the clutch, baby.
Yeah, how could you not say he's a stud?
He's a stud. He needs more bites at the apple. Let's look at the defense here. Alex Singleton exploited in coverage a few times, but finished team high 10 tackles.
Do not care. He was a dud.
Hufanga and Greenlaw.
Stud.
How about, here's one, Chris Abrams-Drain.
He was playing, it's hard, man. He was playing too off. He had a lot of exposure to starter snaps today. It's right in the middle. I'll say dud.
I think it's fair to say dud. And he also was kind of in on that play that knocked CJ Stroud out of the game. Sure. I'll say he was a stud for hanging in there today in, being called into action and all that. His first start with PS2 down. Brandon Jones, let's see. Zach Allen, stud. Easy stud.
The biggest stud.
What about, where is he? My boy, Jahdae Barron finished with 2 tackles. I'm not sure how he did on some of the other metrics as far as passes defensed.
I thought he looked pretty good in coverage for the opportunity that he got. I'm going to say stud.
John Franklin Myers.
Stud.
Jonathan Cooper got a sack.
Stud every week.
He's starting to catch up to Benito. So he went into this game with, he went into this game with 6 sacks. He has 7 now. Benito has 8 on the season, but he hasn't gotten home for 3 weeks. So unfortunately, but he still made a huge impact on each and every game. So there you have it, guys. The Broncos are 7-2. My takeaways on this game real quick to kind of boil it down, then we're going to dip on out of here, is the Broncos offense has got to figure out the run game. The frustrating thing is it's not a matter of making it work. It works. You've got 2 great backs. You've got an excellent offensive line, even without Ben Powers. It's a matter of the coaching staff, Zach, staying committed to it, not losing itself within the flow of a game, not trying to make Bo Nix into Drew Brees, all that stuff. Figure out the run game, and guess what happens by default? Bo Nix is a killer on play action, but it just will make the quarterback so much better. I don't know why they threw so much in the first half with J.K. Dobbins only had 4 carries, and the Texans in this game still, Zach, dominated the time of possession to the tune of 34 minutes and 36 seconds to 25 minutes, 24 seconds.
When the Broncos and Sean Payton especially can just get the hell out of their own way, good things happen. And that's my takeaway. They were in their own way for 3 quarters. They got out of their own way in the 4th quarter, and they pulled it out. Hopefully they can learn.
And Bleck says, imagine how good the defense will be when they have both Greenlaw and Surtain playing at the same time for the entire game. No doubt about it, guys. What a show. We got a few messages for you. Then we'll take one last look at the chat before we dip. Don't go anywhere.
Another tremendous installment, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle. Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every show, check out MHHmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't dropped us a like yet at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, be sure you do so. Also, you can follow us on Instagram at Mile_High_Huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very, very important, as always, that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
A mile high salute, a special shout out to the great Super Chat superstars, members, and supporters helping us keep the lights on tonight, like Rip Dye, like William Shaw, Ted Wunderlich, Colin, Chris Hernandez, legend, M. Blex, Papa Bear, Taylor Christensen, Camden, Zebo, the Lady D, multiple supers and memberships, Boot Boy, Josh, David Youngkin. I said Mblex, didn't I? Yeah, Mblex. I said Mblex. Now it just threw me off my pace. Where did I go? I went too far. Oh gosh, Here we go. Cam Cottle, Cody Dub, Doc JC, Chris Parr, Jamal Killings, Fox Family Breaks, The Boogmeister, Richard Anderson becoming a member. Welcome, buddy. Jordan Mall, Zeus McPeak, also becoming a member. Shannon Mills, Naj, Omar, Ralph, and the Brace Girdle Clan, Flying Anger Pig, C. Dickens, The Duchess, Michaela Parker. We love you. James Moss, Montoya SLC, BLD, Grover. By the way, Omar multiples tonight as well. Shiloh, George Fox, Mailman Ossendorf, White Lightning, Joe Anthony, Tucson Phil, Lawrence Rivera. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support each and every time we turn on the microphone and the cameras and go live. We love you. We appreciate you. You mean the world to us. And your Denver Broncos are 7-2. Short week turnaround, Zach, going into the Raiders. And if they handle that business, 8-2, then you're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at home. This first matchup with the Chiefs is at Mile High.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be an aftermath and also kind of a preview of the Thursday night Raiders game. We are off for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for that. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.